Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our final session of the day featuring the Pearl City High School Academies. I'm so excited for them to share with you about their academy journey over the last 14 years. But before we get started, we would like to remind everyone that today's presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the event website. Please keep all cameras off and all microphones muted throughout the session if you would not like to be recorded. Computer-generated closed captions are available by pressing the closed caption button toward the bottom of the video. Please note that live computer-generated captions may not always accurately reflect what is being said. Subtitled recordings and any resources shared by the speakers will be posted to the website 2 to 3 weeks after the event. If you have any questions for today's presenters, please add them to the chat box and a moderator will share your questions at the end of the session. With that, I would like to introduce Chanel Kagamita, Vice Principal from Pearl City High School and today's session moderator. Welcome, Chanel.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, P20, for this invitation to speak and share with others. My name, again, is Chanel Kagamita, proud Vice Principal of Pearl City High School. As the newest administrator on the team, it is my honor to introduce to you a team of administrators who have taught me so much about college and career academies. First up is Principal Joseph Hoffman.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for that great introduction, Chanel and Robin.
Next, I would like to introduce to everyone Academy Principal Aaron Chung of the Tech and Design Academy, or T&D for short.
Good morning, everyone.
Leading our Culinary Arts, Health Sciences, and Leadership Academy, also known as CASTLE, is Academy Principal Mike Sana.
Aloha, good morning.
And last but not least is Academy Principal Leanne Sataraka of our International Business and Design Academy, also known as IBAD.
Good morning.
We will be starting off our presentation sharing our academy journey with all of you, but prior to that, we would like to provide you with the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat now or throughout our presentation. We don't see any questions in the chat just yet, so I'm going to hand this over now to Principal Hoffman. Take it away, Principal Hoffman.
Okay, thanks again, Chanel, and thank you, everybody, for joining our session. We hope that this is an opportunity for you to kind of learn a little bit from our journey towards wall-to-wall academies, and I'd like to share a little bit about that journey today and kind of go over how we got to where we are now, and basically our journey from a comprehensive high school to becoming wall-to-wall academies or to wall-to-wall academies. So if we can, and I think, Aaron, hopefully, I know you can hear me. If you can help me with the slides, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. So Pearl City High School was a comprehensive high school back when before 2006, Mr. Suyama and was the principal at the time. And before that, Pearl City High School was very well known for having a great band program. We had very high academic standards, and Pearl City High School was a great place to come to school. But it was one big high school, and there were some very traditional things that had happened, and like the same bell schedule, and a lot of things that were the same from years past. And so Carlene Fujimoto became principal in 2006, and she brought a vision for smaller learning communities, having worked at Kapolei High School, and so she brought in that vision for moving to smaller learning communities. And begin to build that in because she knew the benefits that small learning communities could bring for students and for the school. As part of that, we were awarded a grant from the Hawaii Consortium from the Harold Castle Foundation. And really the Castle Foundation was a big part of being able to support some of these learnings that we're going to talk about throughout this journey. And that support helped, number one, helping us get into the consortium of smaller learning communities and explore what it took to begin to implement smaller learning communities at a larger high school and comprehensive high school. And so through some of that learning and working with the other consortiums, we began implementation of 9th and 10th grade teams at that time, and eventually opened up a health pocket academy. We had 3 great teachers, and our health students began to work with those students specifically in the health program study. And so that was a pocket academy that we realized and could see the benefits for those students immediately as we began to work with them in those smaller learning communities. Of course, we began to realize that we really would like those benefits for all of our students, not just our 9th and 10th graders in teams, and not just for those Health Pocket Academy students. So that's where Mr. Tominaga began. He took over in 2013 and 2015. Through 2015, Aaron was, he furthered on that journey, specifically in helping us work on our schedule. Again, we had a very traditional schedule, a 6-period schedule. It really didn't offer much opportunity to be able to work within academies, which is a big part, and work within smaller learning communities. So Mr. Tominaga, as well as some of the faculty and staff, they did a great job of collaborating around how to build a schedule that would be possible for us to begin working within our smaller learning communities. And so he actually got consensus, or actually the Pearl City High School came into consensus around that schedule, which is something I would have never thought possible. But it was an amazing feat, and really it was I just like to commend him as well as the whole faculty and staff for doing such a great job in building the schedule, which is one we still use today, and really helps us to meet some of the meeting time required for both academies as well as departments. And so we can talk about that if you have questions more. But that academy was really one of the main building blocks that helped us to be able to move forward. I was fortunate to become principal in 2016, and through a lot of the prior efforts of Carlene Fujimoto and Aaron Tominaga, as well as the faculty and staff, came in at the right time to be able to move from those teams to actually wall-to-wall academies. And how to actually get that accomplished required a lot of study, a lot of us figuring out what would it take for us to be able to move in that particular direction. So there were several things that really helped us. And one was connecting with NCAC and the introduction to the National Standards of Practice, working with Jay Steele and figuring out how to design a plan that was going to work for us at Pearl City High School to be able to expand into getting academies for all students, or wall-to-wall. What did that look like? What did that actually take to be able to make that happen? And so the National Standards of Practice gave us that framework to be able to see kind of very practically what are the ways, what are the things that our students need, and how might we make those things happen. And so that connection was very instrumental for us. It was also very important for us to visit schools. And so we really appreciated, actually, Hawaii. We appreciate Hawaii P20. They really helped connect us a lot of times with some of the learning opportunities for that, as well as we visited Waipahu High School at their Insight Onsite many times. And that helped us to see how Waipahu High School was implementing wall-to-wall. We visited several career academy schools on the mainland, including Dubisky in Dallas, Texas, as well as the academies in Nashville. And those trips really, not just for me, but also for all of our faculty and staff, they really helped us to be able to envision what it took to and learn what needed to be done in order for us to actually create this, the wall-to-wall academies and the system for our students. And so that's how we began developing, and over the course of the last few years, began developing the academies here at Pearl City. I'd like to kind of cover a few of the things before we move into talking a little bit with each of the academies on their specifics and some of the things that they do, and hopefully can bring to light like how this is actually works day to day. But some of the things that we learned from those experiences through Hawaii P20, through the visits to the different schools, through working with Jay Steele, through the different things that we had done before that, was we really wanted to make sure our design included all of our students. Each of our academies has programs of study that are suited for all students. There's no Honors Academy or GT Academy. All of our English language learners still choose academies based on their interests. Our special needs students also choose academies based on their interests. And we work hard to make sure the supports follow them in those academies. And that is a challenge, but it's one that we really were committed to from the get-go, including in our design. We wanted to make sure students chose their academies based on their career interests rather than being forced into any particular type of academy. So I think you'll see that in some of the presentations when the academy principals talk about their academies. The other things that we learned was we also wanted to make sure to focus on purity. And purity was something I think that was a stumbling block for us early on, and understanding how the schedule needed to be pure. And by purity, meaning how do we make sure students who are in each of their academies are taking classes with teachers who are in that academy and taking classes with students who are in that academy. That really is the power behind the smaller learning community. And we wanted to make sure that our purity was as good as we could get it, because we knew that's what created the culture and the smaller community benefits. If we didn't really have true purity, then that would take away a lot of those efforts, those goals that we had. Physical space was a big challenge for us, and it was one that, honestly, I had to really dig deep and make sure I had the fortitude to stick with it, because by far it was one of the most controversial things for us and for our teachers. We had teachers who were in their classrooms for decades, and we were asking them to move into buildings based on their proximity to their academy and actually moving into physical space around their academy. And so crossing that hurdle really took a lot of work with us. And sometimes, lots of listening, lots of encouragement, even encouragement from other school leaders on my part to say, no, the best way for us to do this is to do it in one fell swoop and to get it taken care of that way, not over time. And that's really what was best for us. It was, I know there's different approaches to that, but that really paid off. And it was a hard time during that summer in which we did it. But overall, again, really was the right choice for us at the time. And then we built our budgeting and changed our budgeting and decision-making to be much more centered around academies and including the academies versus always through the departments, which was the traditional way at Pearl City High School, is that most of the funding and decisions came through the department. And so that change also was a big shift for us. We really wanted to make sure we were supporting our students. And so the design really includes 2 counselors per academy and 1 academy principal per academy. And so those 2 counselors are really key. And we do have time dedicated specifically for student support for our counselors to be able to work with the entire academy and look for ways to be able to assist students who are struggling. This really was absolutely key for us when it came to working with our students through the pandemic. It really helped us know our students, make sure we knew who was there and what supports were required. It wasn't individual teachers having to work through that support on their own. It was a team effort, and that team effort helped us a lot in being able to provide that support for our students. And so that's one of the keys. That student support in that smaller learning community, student support has really advanced as we've gone to wall academies. Looking to the future, I think I really take it serious as my job as principal to continue to add to the team people who are committed to that academy model and building on those core principles, and knowing when you come on board at Pearl City High School, like I'm signing up for the pluses, and sometimes there's challenges that come with being an academy too. Like one, that for a high school, the lines are not as clean in an academy school as they might be in a comprehensive high school. And so that's one of the challenges that we just have to know, that that's one of the costs that we have to work with, but it's worth it because of, we talk about all the benefits it is for students, and we want team members who are going to be recognizing and knowing that as they come into our school, that's one of the things that we're committed to here. We want to continue to work with our advisory board and working on that collaboration and being able to move forward and figuring out what are the keys for how can we continue to build more work-based experiences? What are going to be the key things for our students to learn as they move into it? I know we've talked a lot about that here at this conference, that connection between, secondary school, K-12 actually, through college and through that career. Those connections are key for now for our high school students, to help motivate them and making sure also to help them know that they're working on things that are meaningful. And I also really appreciate the complex commitment. The complex is committed. Well, really, we've had complex committed from the past. Complex areas superintendents from the past, from Keith Hayashi and from Kaz Luke and Kaz Kaninau and currently Kaz Hui. They were really a part of being able to support this journey as well. Kaz Hui really is helping to keep that complex commitment as well, in looking at how do middle school as well as elementary school, how do we look at supporting students and helping them see the connections as well. So we're looking to that as being able to support our complex and moving towards that goal as well. All right, so I think from there, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Aaron Chung. Aaron is going to talk a little bit more about some of the specifics and stories that are going on in the Tech and Design Program of Studies, or Academy.
Thank you, Principal Hoffman. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I am Aaron Chung. I am the Academy Principal in charge of the Technology and Design Academy here at Pro City High School. The motto for our Academy is to building a better future. And really what we want to focus on in our Academy is building a better school, community, and world. We also do want to focus on building a better future for our students as well. We want to provide them with experiences and opportunities to help them prepare for success after high school, whether it be employable or enrollable in a post-secondary education. So, really, we do want to focus on building a better future, and we do live that model every single day. We do have 5 programs of study in our academy. They're listed right there. We do have architectural design, cybersecurity, engineering technology, natural resources, and residential and commercial construction. So it is a really broad range of academic opportunities for our students, but they all do kind of follow the same theme of building a better future. We do offer several certification opportunities for all of our students in our various programs of study. We do offer OSHA 10 to both our natural resources as well as our residential and commercial construction program of study students. AutoCAD, Autodesk, and Revit for architecture and engineering design students. CompTIA certification for our computer science, cybersecurity students. And we just started a cyber safety awareness certification for our freshman seminar students as well. Yeah, I do want to highlight a few things from our academy. Our academy is lucky enough to have, clubs affiliated with each of our programs of study. We do have Future Farmers of America, which is affiliated with our Natural Resources program. We have Skills USA, which has both natural resources as well as our building construction program of study. Robotics team, our award-winning robotics team, who are currently in Houston for Worlds this week. They are affiliated with both our engineering, cybersecurity, as well as our architecture students. ASC Engineering Club, as well as Cyber Patriots and Girls Who Code. So we do, again, want to provide as many opportunities both within school and after school for our different students. Next slide, Joe. All right. We also like to provide varying degrees of work-based learning opportunities for our students, including working with the General Contractors Association, Hawaii Carpenters Apprenticeship and Training Fund, Kupu Hawaii, the National Security Agency, UH Manoa, Chamber of Commerce, and we're always looking for more partnerships and opportunities. But I did want to take the time to highlight a particular work-based learning opportunity for residential and commercial construction. I'm really proud of this program of study. We do have a brand new teacher, Mr. Arokan, and even in his short time here, he's done a lot, given circumstances. To provide a little background information, our current building, our primary building for our academy, is under construction right now. So we do not have access to a lot of the different things that we might normally have access to, including for residential commercial construction students, their actual tools. Yeah. So a lot of their table saws and those kind of things are still stuck in our renovated building. So Mr. Arakan has worked a lot with hand tools and done a lot with our students, planning and building birdhouses, tiny homes. And again, this is when we look at providing opportunities for all students and finding passion for students who might not find passion in certain programs of study. I'm really proud of him, really proud of his teacher, and really proud of the initiative that they're both taking in order to make not only our school, building a better future and building a better school for all of our students. And with that, I think that's my time. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Michael Sana, who is in charge of our Culinary Arts, Health Science, and Leadership Academy.
Thank you, Aaron. Aloha and good morning. My name is Mike Sana. I'm CASO's Academy Principal. CASO is an acronym that stands for Culinary Arts, Health Sciences, and Leadership. Next slide, please. So our CASO Academy mission is for our academy to work with our community and business partners in providing relevant learning experiences and a rigorous interdisciplinary curriculum that prepares all students for college and career readiness. As Principal Hoffman shared earlier, our academies are intentionally designed. So CASO's academy design is actually aligned with our service industries, with the culinary arts, health services, education, and hospitality and tourism. Our academy motto is leadership through service, and our teachers strive to incorporate our motto in their daily lessons, projects, and curriculum. Next slide, please. As an academy, we offer 5 programs of studies, which are culinary arts, nursing services, diagnostic services, education, and hospitality and tourism. Each of the program of study provides a sequence of courses focused on helping students to develop their knowledge and skills so that they are better prepared to be college and career ready. Next slide. In addition, each of the program of study offers students the opportunity to gain industry certifications. Here are a listing of our certifications that we offer. In culinary arts, there is a Serve Safe OSHA 10. Health sciences are a multitude, which include CPR, first aid, nurses aid program, medical assistant, and surgical instrument processing technician program certification. In our education program, we have our Google Certified Educator Level 1. And in our hospitality and tourism, we have the Climb High Service Excellence Training Certification. Many of these certifications can open doors for our students in the form of paid internships. But more importantly, students are able to demonstrate the knowledge and skills necessary to be job ready. Next slide, please. Community and business partners are critical in providing authentic learning experiences for our students. We value the work and the commitment our partners provide for our academy and our students. And here are a few of our business partners that we've worked with. And we continue to partner and look for industry partnerships with our community members as we try to expand opportunities for our students. Next slide, please. Our academy strives to provide authentic learning experiences to help our students develop their passions. In addition, we are always on the lookout for innovative ways to incorporate our motto, leadership through service, into our curriculum and projects we design to engage our kids. One example this year that exemplified our motto is a project that our nursing services students participated in with our special education students. The goal of the project was to promote health and safety and to teach our SPED students basic CPR and first aid. Our nursing students actually worked with our education students to develop lessons on how to effectively teach a health and safety lesson. The project itself was a great success. Another example that I'd like to share is our internship programs in the health and sciences programs of study. Our students have opportunities to participate in these various programs, such as medical assistant, nurses aid, and surgical instrument processing technicians program. These programs have been very successful. In fact, our first cohort of medical assistants graduated in 2018 and are currently working as medical assistants. But what's great is that they are currently also working on obtaining their nursing degrees at a local college. This cohort was also involved in the rollout of the COVID-19 vaccinations and helped to administer these vaccinations through the vaccination buses that visited many of Oahu schools and communities. Next slide, please. On behalf of our CASEL faculty and staff, we would like to say mahalo for taking the time to learn about CASEL. At this time, I'd like to pass our presentation torch to Academy Principal Leanne Sataraka, who will present our Pearl City High School's IBAT Academy. Leanne?
Thanks, Mike. Good morning, everyone. My name is Leanne Sataraka, and I'm the Academy Principal for the International Business and Design Academy, or we fondly refer to it as the IBAT Academy. Sorry, my asthma is bad. Okay, so we have 4 programs of study in our academy. We have business, fashion, digital media, and graphics. When you think about these programs at first, you wonder where is the connection? But really, when you look at business, the arts and communication pathways, there's a natural marry that happens there because a lot of the arts and communication careers eventually do become freelancers or part of a big organization, a big business. So it behooves them to learn about business. And so this year we had a keiki company, academy-wide PBL, where we taught kids how to do a business plan. And in each of the programs of study, they incorporated that in their project. And the kids and the teachers had a nice challenging time. I'm going to talk to you next about some of the certifications. Sorry, next slide. There we go. Some of the certifications that we are looking at for our academy is our cyber safety awareness. Excuse me, that all of our 9th graders are doing this year. In the future, we're looking at doing graphics, Adobe Illustrator. But currently, we have in our business management program, thanks to a partnership with P20 and Leeward Community College, we have a management certification program. So by the end of this program, our current sophomores will be graduating with a certification in management from Leeward Community College. And they will be on their way to getting a national certification for that. It involves a lot of work, though. These students have to take about 10 early college classes, so the commitment is great, but the benefits are amazing. And our kids right now are realizing the difficulties of doing this, but they see that the benefits are going to be really great at the end. Finally, we have our digital media certification. So our teacher, Mr. Sato, works with Olelo Hawaii very closely, as well as Hikino and PBS, and have had a number of our students featured in the PBS Hikino presentations. They're also working on the Story Experiential, whatever, you can read it, through Pixar Films Animation After School. Then I'm going to go into each of the programs of study because I think the strength of our academy really lies in the connections we have with our business partners. So fashion is run by Miss Wendy Oshiro, and she does have FCCLA state competition that our students actually took first in. But her partnership is very strong with Tori Richard. And through Tori Richard, we're looking at future internships and teaching our students how to even design our own faculty wear. So there's a lot of potential in the business partners. This month, they're currently working on our spring fashion showcase, which unfortunately is virtual this year. But the students love that because they get to show off their pieces that they worked hard on throughout the year. Our next program is our digital media program. And like I said, there's a very strong relationship with Hikino that he works with throughout the year. But our students also will get an opportunity to participate in the Skills USA national competition, as well as the SCN competition that they just did last month. And Mr. Sato is currently, he was formerly from industry, so we have a lot of donations from a lot of the news companies that he worked for. So these students are learning firsthand what it's like to work in the industry. And later I'll talk to you about how they used those skills yesterday. Okay, moving on to our graphics program. So our graphics program has a lot of hands-on experience in printing shirts and banners and stickers because they're kind of like the charger printers here. They print everything, almost everything we do for our school. Um, if you look at the Lucky Charms one on this slide, this is actually a monthly competition that we do for all students. They can take a selfie with the banners that are posted outside of our graphics room and win prizes if they post it on their on our iBad Instagram. And so our interactive banners have become a fun way for students to get involved and to get our whole school involved in doing things. Okay, and lastly, our business program. So right here, if you can see, I have on our DECA shirt. That is the club or extracurricular, excuse me, club with that works with our business program. Mongoose photo contest. That was something new that they tried this year. Each of our programs of study tried to do something that involves our whole school. And next year, they will be entering the DECA CTSO again. But I just wanted to highlight something that we did with the Chamber of Commerce yesterday. We called it Charger Connect, where about 25 of our seniors got to partner and be mentored by a lot of the Chamber of Commerce young professionals. So in the entrepreneurship class, each of them had to come up with their own business. Some of them were real businesses that students are doing. And so they presented their business. They were mentored by somebody from the young professionals. And yesterday they got to meet with their mentors in person. Most of it was online. Meet with their mentors in person, explain their business, projects that they did. And it was very interesting because it gave the students a chance to network, right? Shake hands, talk story, work the room. So it was really nice. And our digital media students came on the bus with us, and they were able to take video of the whole day. They're going to edit it and capture the highlights of yesterday. So these partnerships are what makes iBad, who we are today. Definitely the partnerships we have, we're so grateful for, and the experiences that our students get now will help them to decide not only what they want to do, but sometimes what they don't want to do, and that's just as helpful. So that's pretty much iBad in a nutshell. I'm going to hand this back over to Principal Hoffman. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. Thanks, Leanne. Great job. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. We've got some questions coming in. I think we're going to transition now to having Chanel go through some of the questions that you've put in the chat. And if you have any more questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to be able to kind of let you know how some of those things. Some great questions are already coming in. So, Chanel.
Okay, so first question. How did you get buy-in from all teachers for shifting to wall-to-wall academies?
So I'll take that one. I think the answer to that is we probably didn't get buy-in from all teachers, right? Through that journey that we went through, it was a long journey. And I think part of it was building buy-in throughout, right? Whether it be from the smaller learning communities portion to beginning to go to the Pocket Academy and the Wall-to-Wall Academy, even when it comes to meeting and moving our classrooms, there were pockets of time when people were like, no way, this ain't worth it, right? This is not going to be worth it. They did not necessarily know yet that, that some of the benefits that were going to come from the hard work that we did. And I feel like that's the time for leadership, whether it be the principal, but really it can't be just the principal. It has to be principal and enough of the faculty and staff to be able to say, no, this is going to be worth it, and we're going to do this. And so that finding that balance, like you definitely can't have just one individual saying this is the way it's going to be, but building enough buy-in where people begin to see the why. Why is it that we're going to go through this hardship and this work? And then once things happen, then now the buy-in, I feel like more and more people are committed, and so there's less people who are like, no, I don't like this Academies thing, or I didn't feel like, there still might be a few who have wounds from moving classrooms, but overall, like that buy-in has come in over time as they begin to see the richness of learning and the benefits that have occurred. But yeah, I would say we did not get complete buy-in at any stage in the journey.
Thanks, Joe. Next question is, seems like this is moving away from traditional school ideas. How did counselors and their role change?
Leanne, can you take that one?
Sure. I was a counselor for 18 years before I became a vice principal. So I think it's not necessarily that their roles changed, because they still do the traditional academic counseling, right? Behavioral. They still handle all of our crises, and we still have crises. But I think what enhanced it is the conversations that they're able to have with students now to make connections. Before it was always, well, what are you going to do after high school? Are you going to work? Are you going to go to college? Are you going to go military? So I think it gave counselors a better platform to be able to work with each of our students. So we're implementing what we call a 10-year plan, which starts at their freshman year, looks at, what are the 4 or so years after that, and then what are the career plans you're going to have. So it kind of includes high school, post high school, if they're thinking of going college, and incorporating, well, what do you see yourself doing after that? And so I think the conversations are just a lot more rich, and a little bit more focused than when I was a counselor. It was kind of like shooting in the dark. Yeah, what do you want to do after high school? But now there's so much more that they can talk about within each academy.
I would add on a couple of things to that, which would be like our counseling department has changed a lot over the years. Actually, I was talking with one of our counselors that used to be with us, and we're like, wow, it really has changed a lot. But our counselors, before we went to Academies, I think they really loved Alpha, right? They really loved to be Alpha. And there's a good reason for that. One is they followed their kids throughout the entire 4-year journey, right? And so that was a transition, I think, for our counselors, is to be able to switch over to more of the team approach and within the academies. Right now, they teach, basically, they have 9 and 10, and then they go 11 and 12. And so even though they're team and there's 2 of them in the academy, they don't necessarily have them the entire 4 years, though they're connected still, right? So, and then I would say the secondary thing is, that's true. They do all those traditional things, but they also are leaders within our academy a lot. Like, they do need to know the programs of study. Oftentimes they're the ones sharing with students, like, some of the details of it. So when we're looking for new counselors too, that's part of it, is the academy counselor role is also being a leader within the academy to be able to help with even working with, sometimes they work with the industry partners and others too, right? I know we have academy leads for each one, academy lead teachers, but the counselors just end up playing a very big leadership role. So that was a big role change for them as well. But I do think most of our counselors now, I don't think they'd go back. I don't think they would, that our current counselors would choose to go back to the other way.
Great, thank you. So the next one looks like a connection. It says, Aloha Chargers, this is so exciting. And it's asking, in what ways have we transitioned to wall-to-wall academies? I know Principal Hoffman spoke about, the physical space and the purity and student choice. I would like to add in, as an alumni, back in the day when I was coming to Pearl City High School, each of the buildings, Pearl City High School is known for our tall buildings. We have 4 stories, and each building was kind of split up by department. And so if you were going to math class, you went to one building. And if you were going to English class, you would go to another building. But I think this person is asking about the switch. And so if anybody wants to add on and explain any more of the things that happened as we transition to wall academies.
Well, I mean, and whoever the person could clarify too, but I feel like the big part of the transformation is that smaller learning community aspect, but it's also the part which is it's smaller learning community plus the career connections, right? And so some of those career connections are just extremely powerful when it comes to helping students understand the meaning behind the learning that they're doing at the high school, right? So, but the smaller learning community really is the part of getting to know each other. Really, even like a student like Chanel, who's joining an academy, like back then, she could pick any class, and so she might have 6 classes mixed with any students. Now, students coming in will more than likely have the same peers because they're actually in the same smaller learning academy. So it really does foster connections with teachers. It fosters connections with their fellow students much more. So there's just so many things that have changed. Like, I mean, we would be here for probably another hour, but again, if there's more details that you'd like to know or like something specific, please maybe add that in the chat too, and we'll be happy to work on it.
I'd like to add too that the transition to wall to wall also opens up collaboration that happens between teachers, right? Core teachers as well as CTE teachers here at Pro City High School. So really, we look at as we start to develop the curriculum and we look at how we provide PBL projects and things like that. So planning for events, planning for showcase events too as well. So really, by going wall to wall, we have that collaboration piece in place as well.
All right, this next question seems like a good one for Aaron. How did you decide which industry certifications to offer as part of programs of study?
We basically put up a giant dartboard and kind of closed our eyes and threw. No. So this is actually my first year as an academy principal, and what an exciting year to take the helm of an academy. In terms of when I started the year looking at our certifications, it was not as many as some of the other academies. And so what we really did was work with our advisory board. Each advisory board met with their program of study teachers and kind of talked about what they were looking for in graduates. So what are they looking for, the skills they might need and the certifications they might need. And we kind of planned accordingly. The OSHA 10 one is, it's fairly like obvious, right? I mean, you want them to be safe when kind of going through those things. But as an example, it's not a certification we offer yet. But in working with our natural resources advisory board, they recommended that we do I think there's like a wildlife CPR certification that you can offer. So it's more intended for people who are out in the field dressings and so on and so forth. So that's something that we're going to be looking to try and get somebody certified to be able to teach wildlife or outdoor CPR. So it is a collaboration and a constant communication between our advisory board as well as our program of study teachers in order to figure out what they're looking for. I mean, it changes year to year as well, and certain certifications may not be as applicable as they were in the past, and so those will kind of look at phasing out. So that's kind of how, at least my academy, we look to pick those certifications that we want to offer to our students.
Awesome. Okay, here's the next question. This goes out to any of the APs. So can you explain how your freshman seminar is built and run? Do ninth graders belong to an academy when they first begin?
So I'll unmute first. Oh, Junkipo. So what we do is we put up a giant dartboard and we throw darts. No. So the students are assigned academies, or they choose their academies coming into their ninth grade year. So our freshman seminar classes already are aligned to our academies. In our freshman seminar classes, they do learn about the various programs of study within our academy and are exposed to the different activities that they might experience and the work opportunities after high school that they might have as part of different programs of study. Half the year in our freshman seminar class is also devoted to transitions to high school. So providing them the skills necessary to be successful in high school. And that one is universal across all academies. As you get into the freshman seminar part, it does get a little bit more academy specific. Freshmen do have an opportunity to switch academies after their first year if they feel like after going through the freshman seminar classes that this doesn't seem like the academy for me, or maybe I'm interested in a different program of study, and they're able to do so. And sorry, Leanne, I cut you off.
No, that's fine. And I'll just add on to what Aaron just talked about. So really the exposure right now starts at the intermediate school. They're looking at doing wheels and a different kind of exposure to the different programs of study that we have up here. And we do partner with Highlands in doing like 8th grade visits. We anytime they have questions, and I think this year as Highlands is moving towards an academy structure as well, we are partnering with their program of study teachers to enhance and really give them the experience of what each of these programs of study at Pro City will be like. But like Principal Hoffman mentioned also, Hui's vision is really the K to 12 construct and having that pipeline of academy exposure starting at the elementary school. So all 3 academies have worked with various elementary schools. At the ending of this year, we'll be having a financial literacy fair with Momilani Elementary. And so just giving them this exposure and the taste before they get to us is absolutely helpful in making sure that by the time they're in the 9th and for sure by the 10th grade, they're where they're supposed to be.
Hey team, we also got a shout out from Lord Ryan. Hi, Lord Ryan. He says, whoop, whoop. Oh, that was horrible. Whoop, whoop. It was an amazing program. Thank you, PCHS, for partnering with us and the Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii. Thanks so much, Lord Ryan. The next question is asking how we narrowed our equity gap. So for people who may not know, there's a lot of conversations in educational circles around equity and equality. So equality is, same for everyone, and then equity is providing those specific learning opportunities tailored to each child. And so does anyone want to speak on our team as far as how has this narrowed our equity gap?
Okay, so
go ahead.
Leanne, you're gonna go. Okay, so I think that's a great question. I think so. Part of it, again, like we talked about, our design is specifically, built around making sure that all students get the, get the opportunity to be part of each academy, right? So, big part of us helping narrow the equity gap is we have each of the academies do have goals built in that we set to specifically work on narrowing that gap. Now, those goals sounds kind of quantitative and sounds kind of, like we've got goals for that, but really that's the power behind the smaller learning community working together. And so each of the academies have, for example, teachers who are special education teachers who are included within the core subject areas. And those are all academy oriented, right? So that's for students within that particular academy. And the goals are specifically say, how are we going to be able to help and get better at providing instruction, providing support for our students to be able to move forward. And what we've seen data-wise is that, and then Jay even kind of mentioned this before, like we've really seen our graduation rate over the past few years climb each year. And we attribute a lot to that support we're able to provide for students and help make sure our students are earning credit and not falling behind on certain areas. So that goal setting is really a big part of helping us to narrow that equity gap. And then also, I think that, when it comes to meeting the needs of students, a lot of times the big part of it is engagement. And so what we find, and I think even going back to the story Mr. Chung talked about with students who are within the academy, I know that, students who sometimes are not as motivated in the academic book only, setting, when they see the connections to the areas of career that they're interested in, that really helps us to engage those students as well. So that's why it's important for us to make sure that those opportunities are available, and we're not excluding students from participating in those connections as well. So I don't know if anybody wants to add more, but I feel like those are the two powerful ways that we've We've been able to narrow the equity gap. And again, we've still got a lot of growth area that we want to continue to work together and learn from each other. How is it working in being able to narrow that gap?
Thank you. Mike, did you want to add on about the opportunities with the health sciences and CPR?
Sure. Yeah. Definitely. I did mention that earlier in the presentation from Castle. So, we are our model is leadership through service. So one of the projects that we developed this year was looking at our nursing services students really wanted to kind of give back, right? And how do we build capacity within our academy? So we are inclusive academy. So, from the highest end to the lowest end, we want to include all of our students in providing them some type of experience, right? And so those group of students worked actually, what the theme was to promote health and safety. So they wanted to teach CPR and develop. So they worked with our education students, right? To how do I develop an effective lesson to teach kids, right? And the target audience was our SPED populations, right? We wanted to work with them. And so they first partner up and how do we work with SPED students and how do we, work with their, care coordinators to see what kind of needs they had and making sure that they were making sure they covered all their bases. And then the fact that they were working with the SPED students kind of gave them that opportunity to kind of experience what it would be like in a health setting. So if they were working in the health hospitals, they don't know who's coming through those doors. They didn't want to be sure that they can, have empathy and compassion and treat anyone that comes to the doors with the same type of respect and service that they need, right? So it was really a great success. They really had fun, and our SPED students was really excited about learning about CPR, and it was very basic, but at least we gave them some of those skills about CPR in case somebody might need it, right? And it's simple, and they had fun with the music and doing the training with them. So really, that's how we're looking. So we're kind of going to build on that. We're looking next at our culinary arts program and how we can maybe do something with them in our education program as well.
Thanks, Mike. This next one's a good one for Leanne. How are our certifications communicated to companies for recognition to benefit our graduates?
So every student who graduates from us, right, or in fact statewide, has to do a personal transition plan. So even before academies, right, each student has to learn how to write a resume. But I think with our college and career continuum that we have throughout, we're giving students a lot of support on how to incorporate these job preparation skills before they get to their senior year. So even at the sophomore level, we're teaching them how to create and keep adding onto the resume. And so I think that's important. I'm teaching them how to, right now, we're currently in mock interviews for all sophomores. So they're learning all these skills. So when they get these certifications, to be able to, when you go into a job interview, right, talk about these skills and certifications you have, making sure that your resume is on point, that you're not just putting the certs that you got, but what kind of skills have you gained, what kind of projects. So for us in the arts and communication, it's not just the certifications, but we're really trying to build on having students learn how to make a portfolio. You want to be able to show an employer, show a college program, hey, this is what I did in high school. I created this PSA video on, right, how COVID affected students or what have you. So I think it's really just preparing students for all these things that they're going to need to learn when they leave us, whether it's college or career.
And I think that's good. Just like 100%, we've seen that across the board with advisory boards. A lot of times they're telling us it's not so much about the certification as much as the learning behind and what the skills behind the certification. And so we got to teach our kids, our students got to know that they've got to be able to say this certification, this is what it means, that they're able to demonstrate the competency that goes behind it. And so it's kind of one of the new, I think, elements that we have to make sure is part of our plan. And so, yeah, I think, that's just kind of the reality with some of those certs.
And building off of that, this next question, I think, Aaron, you can take a stab at it. Are you seeing any evidence, so maybe specific examples, that academies are inspiring students toward college? And if not, are their post-high school plans more thoughtful than they may have been in the past?
What's kind of funny is I just had a meeting with a parent yesterday who kind of thanked me and our academy, definitely not me, but our academy more for providing her son opportunities to kind of explore careers that may not involve college. I think, especially given the fact that he's a student who applied for the Hawaii Carpenters and Apprentice Training Fund summer apprenticeship. I don't think college was ever an interest to him, and I think he was one of those students who never, didn't really have a plan for post high school, and now he is really really focused on trying to go into one of the trades, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's preparing them more just for college, but I think we are providing them skills that help give them a better focus for their post high school aspirations. We are, providing them experiences to really let them know whether they want to do something or not. I mean, for myself, if I had gone to an academy high school, I don't, I think I switched majors 3 times in college prior to kind of landing on what I ended up being. And I feel like, graduates of Pro City High School, hopefully won't have to go through all those changes in college, that they will have a career mindset going into college. I'm hoping that we've provided them with enough experiences to guide them, and provide them a more focused, I guess, college experience. But especially for my academy, where for especially with the residential commercial construction industry, a lot of students aren't looking at going to college. But they're leaving us with a lot more focus than I think they would have without the experience of being in an academy school.
I could just add on to what Aaron just said. As far as the 10-year plans that students are doing now, I can personally attest that it has helped students really focus on what they're doing here and how that's going to help them make decisions about what they want to do for their future. Because I remember even before academies, we would do what we called like career readiness plans. And how many times I would meet with seniors as they're exiting us, hey, what's your next step? I think I want to go into culinary. Okay, that's great. How come you didn't take culinary? Oh, I don't know. Like they would leave us telling me that that's what they're gonna do. Oh, I'm gonna go to Leeward, or like just kind of stabbing in the dark. So I feel like with what we do in academies and having them do this 10-year plan and checking with the cultures every year, it has really helped students make those decisions. Because sometimes some of them would say they're going to college, they had no idea what they were going to do. They just pull it out of their pocket. So yeah, I definitely feel that doing those readiness plans are helping students.
I like to add, because you asked about the evidence pieces as what our academies inspiring students to go to college, and we can see that in the number of inquiries and students actually signing up for our early college programs. And a lot of our academies also are working with our community colleges to try and figure out what are some of these early college classes that we can align in our academies to help better prepare the students, so that they can get 1 year or 2 years under their belt and be successful, and really help them to get that college degree that we so often want them to have, right? Yeah, definitely. We look at our numbers in early college; they're on the rise. We're looking, students want to take a lot more colleges, trying to fit it in. We're also looking at ways that we can actually offer early college classes in our daily school, and as opposed to our daily school schedule, as opposed to after school. So all 3 academies are working with them and getting input on that, and our college councils. So yes, those are some of the evidence pieces that we're looking at that really are inspiring kids to go to college. In fact, in our culinary arts program, we have a deaf, hard of hearing student who actually applied for one of those culinary colleges, or is getting his application ready, for that college up on the mainland in culinary arts school. So we're excited. He's actually has a part-time job too, working at one of our restaurants here in Pro City. So he's excited about that, and then looking at, how do I get in college, right? Help me. And our counselors are doing a great job helping him through the process. So just wanted to chime in on that.
Thanks, everyone. And we're getting more positivity from the audience. Thanks, audience, for all this positivity. It says, mahalo. That was awesome. Improving the grad rate is a huge school-wide undertaking.
Awesome. It was a huge school-wide undertaking.
Okay, here's another one. To go along with measures John Furr talked about this morning, and with Alex's question, are you seeing greater or more diverse interest in dual credit courses and or early college coursework?
So I think that's a great question. I feel like we want to see more diverse interest. I think we are seeing interest, but we don't see as much as we would like. And I think each of us have talked about this a lot, especially even going through the NCAC review. The NCAC review, which we went through this past was it April? It was April, right? Like beginning of April. Really helped us kind of do some of that reflection and some of the things that we talked about, and this has actually been one of ours for years, is trying to continue to use our early college and dual credit courses to be able to generate that interest. And oftentimes we still see the most interest from our early college courses coming still from our highly academic students, and we want to continue to get more students involved. One of those initiatives is the one I think Ms. Sataraka talked about a little bit. We have a management cohort group who are working towards a early college certification and getting towards their business certification. And that involves many early college courses and experimenting with how can we get more students and support more students who may need additional support when they're in the early college courses. So it's a goal of ours. We have seen more diverse interest, but we want to continue to see, because we know the students who are involved in those early college and get experience in early college will more likely be successful in college later on as well.
All right, here's the next question. So this one is going to Mr. Chung. Social emotional learning, or SEL, is a focus of the Department of Education. What is your academy doing to address this need?
Yeah, so I think through COVID, it's been, I think everybody who works in schools know that a sense of belonging or a sense of connection to schools, severely went down, right? I think when we looked at our panorama survey data, we did notice that significant drop in students feeling connected to a school, connected to an adult in a school. So for at least my academy, we did have a cohort of teachers, about 4 or 5 teachers, led actually by Ms. Kagomita, and discussing how, as an academy, we can increase our sense of belonging. And so throughout our academy meetings, we modeled different strategies to help teachers, feel more connected to their students and vice versa. We have also tried to plan events for our students. I think Ms. Sadaraka and her academy also have done a lot of different events to increase their sense of belonging for their academy as well. But we've really put a conscious effort into it. I think also we, like how Principal Hoffman talked about our student support groups, social emotional health is an integral part of those student support groups as well. And I think teachers can talk to each other about making connections with different students and how they can get across to different students. And so, thanks to the cohort of teachers that volunteered to increase our social emotional well-being. And again, thank you to Ms. Kagomita for leading that charge, not just with our academy, but the entire school. You have definitely helped us connect a lot more with students. So I do thank you for that.
This next one, Ms. Sataraka. How was SEL important over the COVID-19 pandemic? I think maybe specifically talk about when we were doing distance learning and how the academy supported the students with their social emotional learning during that time.
if you think about it, when we went into the pandemic, like everything was turned upside down. It wasn't just difficult for students. I mean, you're talking teachers who have been in the DOE for decades, had to relearn how to do everything. And so I think it was a challenge for all of us. And so to me, like the key was just support. How was everybody supported? And I think through the academies, it was really good because outside of whatever Google Meets and all the things that teachers were doing, they were being very sensitive, right, about, oh, you can have your camera off or this and that. And counselors were running individual and group meetings on Zoom for students. They were constantly trying to keep in touch with their students. But I think for us, we also met with our teachers on the side as well every week, and we're like, "Hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? What supports do you need? Who should we be worried about? Right? How can we help each other?" And we would share, have opportunity in academy meetings for teachers to share what's working. Hey, I learned this quick, thing called Flipgrid. Let me teach you how to use it. So, I mean, it was very important for us to support each other and to support students. So the academy structure really helped during COVID.
Thanks, Leon. Next question. This one can go to Aaron. What do you do with students with disabilities? Can they participate if they are in the diploma route? And what do you do with students who are not capable of getting their diploma?
I think our academy structure provides opportunities for all students, yeah, whether they're in the diploma track or certificated track. I'd like to speak specifically about some of the students, our certificated track students who actually, one of our certificated track teachers has really taken the academy model and the project-based learning model to heart. He has partnered with our building residential commercial construction teacher, our engineering as well as our architecture teacher, to provide a comprehensive project-based learning opportunity to incorporate his students with our students. Our students planning and supervising, and his students actually building things. This year, he took wooden pallets and got his students to build recycle bins out of them, through the mentorship of some residential commercial construction students. So we do provide opportunities for all students to engage in project-based learning activities, and we do want to try and provide them as many experiences as possible to help get them, if it's not going to be enrollable in a community college, even if they have a certificate, then we do want to make sure that they have the skills necessary to be employable after they leave our school.
Okay, I think this might be our last question of today. Mike, this one's coming to you. So, professional development plays a big part in academy opportunities, such as best practices and other things similar to that. What opportunities do teachers have at Pearl City High School?
Great question. So, professional development is a key aspect of any of our academies, and providing that to our teachers really to help them to, better improve their teaching practices and getting our students engaged. So, at Pro City High School, we have professional development days, and part of the professional development days, we have what we call as a bento style PD opportunities, where we have our guest speakers that are scheduled to come in and present to our faculty, but we also have opportunities where faculty members can help to develop the professional development for our own faculty, right? So they come up with, best practices that are shared, having teacher voice and teacher choice to choose some of these, teacher-led professional development really help. And then giving them time for, their professional learning communities and to sit down and talk, whether it's aligning their curriculum, their course maps, looking at assessments, looking at data, even having academy leads work with core teachers in developing some PBLs and things like that. So it was a great professional development opportunity that we scheduled, and the teachers really took to it, and many of them signed up, and there were some sessions that were overcrowded and they had to sign up for another session, right? So we had to offer maybe those sessions twice, right, because they're so popular. Especially with the beginning of the school year, and how do we get our kids back, and incorporating a sense of belonging, right? How do we get them to, sharing these best practices with them so that they could implement it in their classrooms as well. So hope I was able to cover that and answer that for all.
Thanks, Mike. We just, on behalf of the College and Career Academies of Pearl City High School, we just wanted to thank P20, Robin, thank you so much, Erin. She's been kind of behind the seats too, so we wanted to say thank you to them. And thank you also to the audience for this opportunity to share. And then we wanted to add, if you wanted get any more information, please check out our website, www.pchs.k12.hi.us, or any of our Instagram handles. But feel free to check out the website. That's where you can find the most information. But thanks so much again. And Robin, take it away.
Thank you so much for joining the Pearl City High School Academy session. What a wonderful story and journey, and just so appreciate you guys sharing that with all of us today. And I just want to remind the audience, as you heard from Principal Hoffman, that again, like, this is not a marathon. I mean, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? Like, sorry, it's been a long day. That all of this is going to take a lot of hard work, and there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days, and you heard from them firsthand, right? And it's not always sunshine and roses. There are difficult times, but in the end, it's the students that really matter, and you can hear that the students are so engaged and just love their high school. So we thank you guys. I want to thank all of you for attending. Please complete the session survey that's in the chat so we can learn more about your thoughts and suggestions for the convening. Thank you so much for your participation today, everyone, and we look forward to engaging with you again soon. Have a great rest of your week. Mahalo from P20.